Okay, for our Tech 10 this evening, Dennis W6X is going to give a talk on online SDRs.
All right. Okay, SDRs, what does it mean? First of all, how many now play on the internet with a software-defined receiver or software-defined radio? Good, some of you do. Well, I'm going to show you a few things tonight, maybe pick up something new. If you haven't played with these things are amazing. Let me go and start my, yeah, it's bright enough now. Remote receivers, SDR can mean, a lot of people call them software-defined radios. Software-defined radios can mean, you know, a lot of different things, but tonight I'm going to call them software-defined receivers. They do a lot of things. Let me get it working here. There we go. You can listen over one of these software-defined receivers from a different location. So if you're testing your transmitter, testing an antenna, you can pull up one of these receivers, and I'll show you where they are across the United States, in fact, all over the world, and you can actually hear yourself, how loud you are, maybe you know, how clear your audio signal is, and that's so on. You can look for band openings. 6 meters has been opened recently. There's a 6-meter software-defined receiver in Utah, northern Utah. You can pull up that software-defined receiver, and you can take a quick look at the waterfall, and you can see if there's any signals out there, kind of midway across the United States. So it can be handy that way too. Avoid local noise during a QSO. I have a weekly QSO with a friend of mine in La Paz. Sometimes it's a good path, and sometimes it's not. And when it's not, we'll both tune in a receiver that's somewhere between us and just turn the audio off on a receiver, and we both talk to each other with transmitter and listen on a receiver somewhere else. That's pretty cool. You can do some kind of interesting stuff. I mentioned checking your audio quality, making adjustments. You can actually, on some of these, you can get in and tweak your EQ on your transmitter by listening to yourself. I use headphones. Put headphones on, and you can talk and hear yourself in the headphones on that other receiver. Pretty amazing. So where are they? Well, here's just a quick map. I zoomed in a little bit on this one, but it's showing quite a few of them all over the world. A lot of them in Europe. You notice that? A bunch of them in Europe. All of them have a couple of things, actually more than a couple, a few things in common. One thing is this display. Basically, this display shows you if there's any signals being heard by that receiver. So for example, in this waterfall, here's a signal showing up, here's a signal showing up, another one over here, and I'll show you this live in a minute. They also all have this area down the bottom I'm pointing to here where you can actually type in a frequency. You can select the band that you want to listen to. Here's another receiver right here. This one actually gets into 30 meters, and here's a 6-meter one that I was talking about. And this is all in that northern Utah site. Also, there are presets. So there are some nets that are on regularly, and those get a preset. You can actually click on one of these. Here's Gordon West right here. So on 40 meters Gordon West, when he's on, you click that. In fact, when he was transmitting when I captured this, it'll immediately tune to that frequency, and you can listen to it. Other things that are pretty common, you can select the mode. Notice you got CW wide and narrow, lower sideband wide and narrow if there's a lot of interference, upper sideband AM, FM. It also has passband tuning filters. I've not played with these too much. Typically you can get what you want using these buttons right here. Has an S-meter built in. This is pretty cool when you're listening to yourself. You can actually see how strong that receiver is hearing you, across the world. Volume control, you can also do recording. I've actually used that. If somebody's testing their audio, you can go ahead and start a recording. You can record their audio for any length of time. I'd keep it short because it uses a lot of uses a lot of file space. And then save it to your desktop and email it to them as an attachment. And it's an MP file, just a normal audio file. This is a place where you can store your own used frequencies, the ones you go to a lot. There's a couple I have in here, 7155 in the morning or the 3737 group, and you can just quickly, and you can label them, I didn't right here, but you can just quick recall and it'll quickly go to that frequency. Here's what they look like, folks. This is northern Utah. You can see by the fellow standing down here at the bottom how big a tower that is. What you can't see in this picture is this incredible spider web of antennas. I recommend going to that site and look at this picture in person because it's amazing. Here's some of the hardware inside. These guys do take donations. They don't charge for this service, but they do take donations. So if you use it a lot, you know, I send them 25 bucks for something once in a while because I do use it. All right. So I'm going to show you real time what it looks like, and also I'll show you a couple of favorites of mine. All right, I'm just going to open up a browser. So if you have any internet access, you can, by the way, you can tune in with your cell phone. You can go to these websites with your cell phone. So sometimes I'll tune into one of these SDRs, walk around the house and listen to a chit-chat going on, maybe a net or something I want to hear, then I have something else going on. You can tune it in on your cell phone. Okay, so I have a couple of shortcuts up here. One of my favorites is the northern Utah. Another one is one over on the coast in Half Moon Bay. Maybe some of you have driven by that one on Highway 1 over there. It's a big site. And then Sedona, Arizona. So northern Utah, this is the one in northern Utah. And did they fix it? No, they're going to be doing some maintenance tomorrow, so you can see it's getting a lot of noise coming in. So let's go look at the one in Half Moon Bay. Okay, here's Half Moon Bay. So you can see, here's the signal here. We're on 80 meters right now. And I can go to 40 meters because I have one stuck over here. Let's see if there's anybody on 40. Well, there's somebody right here. So I'm going to click right here. Get the audio going.
Every other month over there, and I don't know if I'm going to make it down today because it's a little bit of a drive there. I don't want to drive my car anymore than possible because it will start leaking on me, but I can carry some extra water and cool it west me south.
So anyway, you can see that I'm adjusting the frequency by clicking these plus and minus buttons to get on their frequency. But that's an example. There's another one down here. You can also drag these around. That coming through? Okay, and you can mute it. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just mute the receiver when somebody else is talking, or if I'm talking direct but I want to listen to the remote receiver, I'll just go mute, unmute, mute, unmute when I'm transmitting. But
how many people can use it at the same time?
Any number of people, yeah, which is amazing. So it doesn't get overloaded. So here's the OMIS net, nobody's there. Here's that fellow we were listening to. Again, you can grab this and drag it around. Here's 3737, and here's somebody over here. And you can see that's pretty wide, so let's go lower sideband narrow. Notice it shrunk down.
You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah. Well, you gotta be careful when you do that. You never know who you're gonna get. Okay, with that, I just really invite you to experiment with it. Let me run this PowerPoint again because I had some things I wanted to show you at the end. And this presentation is posted up on the Groups.io site as well. Okay, there we go. Any questions? Any more questions?
What's the best URL to go to in order to do this?
Okay, that's a good one. And I'll get this slideshow back up again. That's one of the things I wanted to show you.
If you search on Web SDR, you'll find a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Here we go. All right, so here's the global website right here, www.websdr.org. If you go to that website, you'll get all of the SDRs listed for the entire world. And if you scroll to the bottom of that website, you'll see that map that I have up there. Okay, so that's where I recommend going. And they're my favorites up here. This is Utah and Sedona and the West Coast. This is over on, it's KFS over on in Half Moon Bay. Let's see. So that map, all the way back. Okay, there you go. So that SDR.org gets you to this map, and then if you scroll to the bottom, you get the. I'm sorry. If you scroll to the bottom, you get this map, and if you hover over any one of these little tabs here, if I can get it back up again without. Okay, maybe that'll work. No, my computer's not cooperating tonight. But if you hover over any one of these little drop pins, you'll see a pop-up, and it'll give you the link to that SDR. So basically, just hover over the pin. You'll see information about that particular SDR, and then you can go to that SDR site. So right here, here's northern Utah. This is Sedona. This is Sedona probably. Northern Utah, and KFS is over here on the coast. So these are pretty centrally located. These work really well. You can also pick them up in the southern states down here, as you can see, all the way out into the East Coast.
Yeah, just wanted to point out, they have something called Cat Sync, which is a really neat program that just came out recently. A lot of people live in high noise areas and they can transmit, but they can't receive. And so with Cat Sync, it interfaces with your transceiver, so when you're receiving the audio you hear through your headsets and through your speakers, whatever, comes from the Web SDR. And then when you transmit, it's just like a remote operation. It's out of Europe, very, very inexpensive. So then you don't have to mute, unmute.
And using this during that contest is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. Greg said, can you use it when you're contesting? I actually used it when I was trying to work somebody, off the East Coast. And of course, the East Coast horde is covering you up pretty badly. Well, you could pop one of those receivers up on your computer on the East Coast, and if you're transmitting enough power, the DX station will probably hear you if you're having trouble hearing them. But if you have a receiver on the East Coast, you can hear them pretty well. I think the rules say it depends on where your transmitter is, not your receiver, right? Or does it say your radio? All right. Well, thank you.